In August 1991, history stood at a crossroads. What if the Soviet coup against Gorbachev had failed, allowing his reforms to succeed? This simulation begins with a pivotal divergence. The USSR signs the new Union Treaty, preserving its federation. The red flag continues to fly over the Kremlin as the world braces for an alternative Cold War trajectory where bipolarity endures into the 21st century. By the mid-1990s, NATO expansion halts at Germany's eastern border. The Warsaw Pact evolves into a collective security treaty organization, with Soviet troops maintaining influence over Eastern Europe. A rejuvenated USSR invests in cyber warfare capabilities, forcing the US to divert resources from Middle Eastern interventions to this renewed European stalemate. The Iron Curtain morphs into a digital firewall. State-controlled tech giant Kvantor pioneers the USSR's AI ambitions. Unlike Silicon Valley's profit-driven model, Soviet AI focuses on optimizing planned economies and mass surveillance. By 2008, Sovnet, a closed internet with mandatory citizen IDs, reaches 200 million users. The Kremlin exports this system to Cuba and Vietnam, creating an alternative digital sphere resistant to Western influence operations. In this timeline, Ukraine remains a Soviet republic through economic interdependence. Kiev becomes the USSR's tech hub, with Kharkiv aerospace plants producing next-gen drones. Without NATO expansion threats, Russian-speaking regions show no separatist movements. However, underground nationalist groups funded by Western NGOs test the limits of Soviet tolerance, creating simmering tensions beneath the surface stability. As climate change accelerates, the USSR weaponizes its Arctic oil reserves. Red diesel pipelines to Europe give Moscow leverage over EU policies, while renewable energy investments in Central Asia create a socialist alternative to China's Belt and Road. The petro-ruble challenges dollar supremacy, forcing the US to tighten sanctions, only to see USSR-China trade routes flourish across Siberia's thawing permafrost. Autonomous tanks patrol the Urals as both superpowers deploy AI-controlled drones under mutually assured algorithmic deterrence. Soviet quantum computers in Novosibirsk crack Western encryption, while US cyber attacks target the Trans-Siberian Rail Network's automation systems. Unlike nuclear weapons, these tools enable constant low-intensity conflict, a perpetual digital Cold War fought in microseconds. Soviet cinema dominates streaming platforms, with state-funded epics about space collectivism. Youth worldwide wear retro Gagarin fashion as Moscow's pop stars top global charts, carefully curated to promote socialist values. The US counters with Hollywood's Freedomverse franchises, creating a cultural iron curtain where entertainment platforms become ideological weapons. The UN Security Council expands to include the USSR and China as permanent members. Climate accords require three-way negotiations between Washington, Moscow, and Beijing. Surprisingly, this multipolar system proves more stable. The USSR mediates US-China tensions over Taiwan, having no interest in either side dominating Asia. Global problems now demand three superpower consensus, creating sluggish but balanced diplomacy. The simulation concludes with haunting parallels to our world. Resource wars, AI ethics debates, and cultural fractures all persist, just under different ideological banners. Perhaps superpower rivalry is humanity's constant, regardless of political systems. As the virtual USSR flag fades, we're left wondering, was the Cold War's end truly inevitable, or merely one possibility in an infinite multiverse of histories?